Hi, I'm Dennis Hanson. We're on day 2 of the fork rebuild, and so today I've got the forks out on the bench. This is the left side fork if you're sitting on the bike. So first thing I want to do is take out these pinch bolts, and then I'm going to remove this plastic piece. I've set the fork leg up in my vise, propped it up a little bit, and I'm just going to use a regular wrench to take the cap off. There's a lot of pressure, with the springs. So when I do get the cap close to being done, I'm going to put a towel over that, and hopefully I can turn it off by hand. And might want a drip pan there because it's probably going to be, some oil is going to be coming out. So I'm going to take it nice and slow. Couple more turns, and then I'm going to try it by hand. Pull it out. Got that spacer. I think I'm going to have to put a wrench on that to turn that off. Okay. That off, and let's take the spring out. I've got it to this point, and have all the parts. This is the side with the pinch bolts, and I have it secured. Just use a little block of wood, and so I'm getting ready to take this off. Alright, so the last part I've got to do is take off this is kind of the cap that goes through this nut, and it's pretty simple. You need a 14 mil. I'll hold that shaft from spinning, and then I couldn't find a metric size for this, so I just used my crescent wrench and turned it right off. Now I am kind of noting the position of this screw, this bolt I should say, or this nut, and it's about 3/4 of the way down. So I'm going to take this off completely. Take this out so it doesn't get damaged. Okay, for me to keep disassembling, get that cartridge out of there, what I had to do is I had to buy the Triumph tool, and this is the one. I got it from England Motors in Kansas City, Missouri. 50-something bucks. Basically, there's a big square big square nut on one end of a piece of pipe, and then there's another big nut on there. And the way this works is you put it inside the fork leg, and you'll feel the nut will engage that bottom part. Alright, so I just busted this bottom bolt loose on the fork legs. Used my impact driver, made it a lot easier, and was able to hold the tool with a big old plumber's wrench. Okay, cartridge is out of there. Okay, so the cartridge is out. I just used a little screwdriver, pry off the dust cover, and now there is this clamp. It's a little spring clamp that I got to pop out. So this is where I'm at so far. You can see the edge of the spring right there. That's the seal. And so what I got to do, here's the other end of that spring. I'm going to work it around, use a small screwdriver and needle nose pliers. Hopefully I can pop that thing out of there. Alright, this is the spring clip, and I did struggle with it, but eventually I got it. And hopefully I didn't mangle it. So that's the only thing holding the seal in. I should be able to pop the seal by just pulling like that, and that's pretty much it. Alright, so I got it all apart. This is what holds holds the cartridge. This is the seal, the old seal. I'm going to take it off. The washer, I think this is supposed to be another special split washer. I'm going to take all this stuff apart, clean it, and this came out of the bottom of the fork leg. So I'm going to clean these parts, make sure I assemble them back the way they're supposed to. Clean the inside of this fork leg. And get ready for the next step. I'm checking out this fork tube, and I did notice there's a little scratch, kind of nick, imperfection right there, which I know will eat up a seal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand that out a little bit. Got some 1000 grit sandpaper and some kerosene. I'll work on it, see if I can get that a little smoother, because I can feel it with my fingertip. Okay, so I've got my parts all cleaned up. I'm going to start reassembly, and before I put the seals on, I've got to get the cartridge, I've got to get this tube back in there. So what we're trying to do is, this cartridge fits, obviously it fits in there. This goes on the end of there, goes in the fork leg, and then this comes up through the bottom of the fork leg and screws into the cartridge. So see if we can get all this back together where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to take the cartridge, put it inside the fork tube, and I can see the threaded part. It's right there. That's where I want it to be. Now, carefully going to slide this to the fork leg. That, and I'm going to reinstall this bolt. Thread it on the cartridge. slide the tool on the cartridge. I can feel it's engaged. Now, I'll go back and tighten this up just a little bit. Not going to go too heavy on this. I don't want I don't want it to be super tight. I don't want it to leak oil either, but just going to snug it like that. And I think that should work. So I did pull out the dampener rod, and I've got this pretty much set up. So what I'm going to do now is try to set that seal. See how that goes. Okay, so this was the old seal. This is the new seal. I can tell the new seal goes in. This is the top. Just like this was the top. You can tell by looking at them, pretty much. So I'm going to oil this up, flip it on, and then we'll see if we can set this. Alright, after oiling up this tube quite a bit, I was able to get the seal on. So I'm going to slide it down and set it. Okay, so I've pushed the seal down in the fourth leg. My next step is, this is my homemade seal setter, and what I did, I bought some 1.5 inch irrigation pipe, cut a 3-inch length, then I cut it down, cut it in half this way, and this will fit over this, kind of a snap fit, a little bit tight, and then I'm going to put the hose clamp on it, and then I'm going to run it down until I feel that seal seats. Alright, so I do have the seals in, springs in, and with the little tool that I made, I just pop it in there and tap down that spring to make sure it's fully engaged with that the recess. Seals are on. So, last thing I want, it's not the last thing, but what I need to do next is put 455 milliliters of fork oil inside the tube, work it back and forth. What I'm using is 5-weight oil. I know it had 10-weight in it, or I think it did, and I wanted a little something, a little softer ride, so I thought I'd give this 5-weight a go and see how I like that. If I don't like it, I guess I'll take it out and put back the 10. Okay, so this is 200. Another 200. And you should be able to get, I mean, everything, I think you can do it all in 1 liter should take care of everything. Okay, and I need 55, so looks like 55 for me. Okay, that's 455. And we go ahead and work that back and forth And it'd probably be a good time to grab the damper rod. I'll grab it with some needle nose. And I'm going to put this part together. That guy back in there. I believe this is a 14 mil nut. Back down 3/4 of the way. Looks right. And thread this cap back on there. And I do have to, this nut's on there to kind of snug this cap. So that's what I'm going to do. Snug them together. But first I want to snug this to this. Good. Alright, so I wound up not being able to use the new dust cover boot. For some reason it's this lip, this goes farther down than the original one, so I put the original back on, but the fork works great. Has nice rebound, feels solid. Real good. I like it. So that's one down. So I'm glad that's back together. Works great. The seal doesn't leak. I did go back and make sure that, I guess the biggest thing is make sure you seat that seal all the way. And if you make that seal driver, and you'll be able to feel it when it's down there all the way, and you'll see the lip. It's kind of a groove for that spring. Set that spring back in there, and if you're having trouble with the dust boot, kind of look at the old one, look at the new one, and maybe that's the problem. But I'm glad that this one's done. I'm going to move on. I'm going to do the next one, but I'm not going to not going to make a video of it. So my next video will be putting the forks back in, aligning the front end, and getting it all ready to go. So thanks for watching.